My ultimate goal is to be able to call Peggy one day and say, I've got great news for you. We found the person who did this. Yeah, that's going to be the ultimate phone call.
That detective may finally be getting his wish as new developments come in regarding a cold case from 1999.
Plus, at least a dozen people are claiming that a local company stole thousands of dollars. We'll hear from the victims and tell you what you need to know.
And how a new program is helping students who dropped out of school earn their high school diplomas. Your Suncoast News starts now.
You're watching ABC7 News at 6.
Hello and welcome. I'm Scott Dennis.
And I'm Jacqueline Matter. Thanks for joining us.
Well, first tonight, a break in an almost 20-year-long investigation into a Sarasota County murder case.
Tonight, the Sarasota County Sheriff's Office announcing it has important developments in the unsolved murder of Deborah Dalzell. We have crews at the scene of the victim's family's house right now trying to get more information regarding her death. Nearly 20 years ago, deputies were called to Dalzell's home on Colony Meadows Lane after co-workers became concerned when she didn't show up for work. When deputies arrived, they found the 47-year-old dead inside her home. They say she was sexually assaulted and murdered. We spoke to a detective back in 2012 that's been on that case from the start. He shared his frustrations with us then.
A day doesn't go by that I don't think about the case. I even keep a picture of Deborah on a bulletin board in my office, just as a reminder.
The Sheriff's Office has not said if they have made an arrest or what the new development in this case is, but Sheriff Tom Knight will host a news conference tomorrow morning at 10:30, and we will keep you updated as those developments come in.
All right, time now to get a check on our forecast this evening. We had some showers around earlier, and the heat was on just about all day. Here's Bob Harrigan with more.
Yeah, the heat index at about 104 this afternoon. It's starting to cool down in some rain-cooled areas as a result of this area right here. You see the storms firing up as a result of the sea breeze, the bay breeze kind of converging right there, and a line of showers and storms really flared up. Had some lightning near Ellington, just near Parrish as well, and also in Oneiko and Bradenton, but that has since moved on. Not all of Bradenton, but some of it did get some rainfall. The shower near Cortez has since moved on. That breeze, sea breeze, is moving east to southeast right now at 10 miles an hour. It's going to collide with the East Coast breeze, which you can barely see right there now, moving into eastern portions of Hardy County. These two shall meet. We'll see some storms developing right there in the next hour or so. Not much going on near the coast. There are some outflow boundaries here that could create and generate a shower or two along I-75 down the road. Well, at the airport, it has cooled a little bit. The rain-cooled air around, it's 83 now. The rain has, for the most part, come to an end. That heat index down to 91 and the humidity at 79%. You see some real dry air to the east of us and right now encroaching into our coast, so the showers aren't sticking around all that long. Details on that and the tropics, updating you on the remnants of Isaac. Coming up in a few minutes. Back to you.
All right, Bob, thank you. A reminder tonight to lock your car doors. Venice police say they responded to 6 car burglaries within blocks of each other last night. Police say they happened off 3 different streets in Venice: Alhambra Road, Dante Street, and Maggiore Road, about 5 minutes away from Venice Regional Bayfront Health. Now, police say all of the vehicles were unlocked. They want to remind you to not leave any valuables in your car and to not leave your keys in your vehicle as well.
The Charlotte County Sheriff's Office warning people about a suspicious person that's been reported on several social media posts. They say that man has been spotted in various locations around Charlotte County trying to speak to children and at times has made the parent feel uncomfortable. Deputies say just this past weekend they responded to a phone call about a man seen in these surveillance video pictures talking to a kid at Target. Deputies say the mother asked him to leave several times. At this point, the Sheriff's Office says there's no indication that any crime has been committed, but they are looking to identify that man. He's being described as a 50-year-old man with gray hair, standing at about 5 feet 5 inches tall, and at the time of this incident was wearing a Hawaiian Hu necklace. He left the Target parking lot in a gray 4-door SUV, possibly a Honda.
Sarasota City Commissioners voting to launch an outside investigation into allegations against the city's clerk and auditor. Pamela Natalini has been on the receiving end of negative annual reviews, complaints from staff about discrimination, and creating a hostile work environment. Commissioners agreed to spend $30,000 to bring in an independent investigator to find out what's going on. Natalini has already said she publicly that she will not cooperate in this investigation, and she has also consistently refused our offers to give her side of the story. So instead, we asked one of her supporters to say a few words about the situation.
Pam has always been very responsive to me personally. She's been very quick and she's been very thorough. So personally, I have no experience which reflects what these kinds of criticisms are.
Mayor Liz Albert says the investigation should take about 3 months to complete. She also said the cost could go above $30,000.
Sarasota County schools are giving students who have dropped out of school a second chance to get their high school diploma. A new program called Acceleration Academy takes people between the ages of 16 and 20 and helps them graduate. The school district provides a list of names, and the center then reaches out to those students. If the student chooses to come in, the center looks at their high school transcript and puts together a customized lesson for the student. One student says the learning environment is quite different.
Way different. Like regular school, you don't really have as much help because it's a lot of kids in the class and you can't really get, the one-on-one time that you need. Here, you have people that'll come and help you and sit down and go over tests and do this and that.
Acceleration Academy is free for the students and is funded just as if they were still attending public schools. They also provide transportation to and from the center.
The two leading candidates for governor are launching competing plans to improve Florida's education system. Republican Ron DeSantis wants to increase merit pay for teachers by requiring 80% of school funding to be spent in the classroom and not on administration. DeSantis also wants to expand school voucher programs. Meanwhile, Democrat Andrew Gillum outlined a proposal to provide a minimum $50,000 starting salary for teachers by increasing the state corporate income tax by $1 billion.
I want this state to be measured by the investments that we make in kids, not into as many tax breaks as we can manage, but in our children.
Raising taxes, which will crush the jobs that we're then trying to train the students for, is a little problematic because when you raise taxes on the corporate income, you reduce the amount of investment in Florida.
Gillum's plan would increase the state's corporate tax rate from 5.5% to 7.75% on some of Florida's richest businesses. Still to come in your Suncoast News tonight, a warning against contractor scams. Several people coming forward to accuse one company of taking their money.
Plus, additional funds to help with the red tide problem. Will show you just how much is coming to the area.
Investigate TV tackles the tough topics.
What happened to my life was awful.
When your health is compromised, we investigate.
They are really drug dealers in white coats.
Corporate greed exposed.
How do you trust them to run this program?
The powerful held accountable with in-depth journalism led by award-winning journalist Lee Zurich. We're your watchdog. Search Investigate TV on your Roku device. Download it now.
If you don't want to fall immediately into love, look away. If you don't want to awaken a desire for excellence, look away. If you don't want to be seduced, please look away.
Rediscover your passion for driving at Sunset Maserati Alfa Romeo of Sarasota.
Today, everyone is looking for carpeting that lasts longer. G. Fried has you covered with Karastan. With a legacy of quality and integrity, we provide you with a huge selection of Karastan carpets with exclusive lifetime limited warranties. All installed by our highly skilled, highly knowledgeable team. Come ask us why Karastan is the best and most durable. G. Fried Flooring America. Our world is at your feet.
Helping families with mesothelioma is all we do. My firm has been offering a free book on mesothelioma for over 10 years. Since that time, hundreds of people with mesothelioma have trusted us to represent them. We have local offices throughout the U.S. and there is no risk to you. Mesothelioma really is all we do.
Call us at 1-800-485-6000. That's 1-800-485-6000.
Or go to mesoonlylaw.com.
Did you know you could get life insurance for less than 32 cents a day? With guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TruStage, you can get up to $25,000 in protection with a single phone call. TruStage can help free your family from immediate financial stress when you're gone.
Utility bills, mortgages, car payments, those are a lot of things that can add up pretty fast.
And even if you're on a fixed income, prices fit your budget, starting at less than 32 cents a day. Plus, your price will never increase and your benefit will never decrease. And with no medical tests or health questions, you cannot be turned down for any reason. Call 1-800-842-7189 now for a free, no-obligation quote. TruStage offers plans to fit your budget. Help protect your family from immediate financial burdens after you're gone with guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TruStage. Call 1-800-842-7189 now.
We've seen the red tide make a comeback over the last week, and today more state funding was announced to help combat it. Areas impacted by red tide will get an extra $4 million in funding, bringing the total amount of red tide funding to $13 million. The additional $4 million will come from the Florida Department of Environmental Protection. Sarasota County will be getting $400,000 of that money. Manatee County will be getting $750,000.
Florida Fish and Wildlife providing more than $1 million to help replenish the redfish population that has dropped because of red tide. $1.2 million will go for research and production of redfish at a facility at Port Manatee. That facility spawns and raises hatchery fish. The money will also help the FWC address the effects of red tide on redfish in coastal areas.
And red tide also continues to affect businesses and parks here on the Suncoast. Lido Pool, Pavilion, and Concession Stand closed today and tomorrow. The city of Sarasota says the odor and air quality are too poor to allow for swimming in the pool there.
Of course, we always watch the wind direction because we know that it potentially can help or hurt us.
Yeah, I just got an email from somebody just 5 minutes ago wanting to know about the weekend wind. And wind is becoming all a big factor, especially when we get that west wind. It's an all-day thing. But an east wind is going to be much better, and it looks like it will be that way over the weekend for most of the day. Now, this is the Holmes Beach webcam showing you near the Beach Bistro there. Calm conditions out on the waters, and not many people strolling on by, so it's pretty quiet. And I got a photo from Cindy Desmond at the Venice Jetty, says she saw no one there this afternoon. Not much rain around, and it looks like we're going to see a few spotty showers still possible this evening, making their way back to the coast. High pressure right over really Florida, and it's building along the eastern seaboard. And what that means is we get the east wind around that high pressure ridge throughout most of the day and night, but that afternoon sea breeze is not going to be held back. So it will develop each and every afternoon like it did today. The wind out of the east was very light today, but for the most part, the heavy rain that was around has come to an end. We are looking at a few showers that were pretty strong right along I-75, stretching down southward toward Lakewood Ranch, and those have vanished. What's happening now is this dry air from the Gulf of Mexico is working its way into the upper levels. These storms get up to that level, 30, 40,000 feet, tap into that dry air, and it kind of shuts them down. These two breezes will meet right there into central portions of Hardee and DeSoto County. I look for some storms to develop there, and the models are in agreement with that. We have had heavy rainfall in some isolated areas in Manatee County, 1.5 inches there near Ellington, and south of Ellington, actually near Heritage Harbor. Some heavy rainfall earlier. Well, here's the model. This may be a little late. I think this is going to happen a little sooner than that. Around 8 o'clock, the storms will start to fire up here, and then one or two will work their way off to the west, and a few showers are still possible, but most areas staying dry this evening, I think, along the coast. And then tomorrow, notice that sea breeze starting to kick in. A few spotty showers are possible, and then those showers will move inland with the sea breeze. They'll develop and strengthen here, and then one or two will push back toward the coast in the afternoon. A much better chance of that exists on into Thursday. You'll start to see a little bit more fill-in of these storms and push toward the coast in the afternoon and evening. A little bit more intensity, too, as well with those storms, I do believe, on Thursday. And that will continue on in through the weekend as a result of that generally east to southeasterly wind flow on through the weekend. Well, down to our south, we got to keep an area, watch on this area here in the western Caribbean Sea. This is where most of the storms late in the season start to develop, or a lot of them, and they have a tendency to move north as more and more fronts start to move down into the southeast. They pick that up and carry it off to the northeast, and that's when Florida becomes a little bit more vulnerable in the west coast anyway, and we'll keep an eye on that. This one not going to be a problem as it heads off to the west. Remnants of what was Isaac pushing off to the west, and it looks like Texas, which saw a lot of rainfall. We were focused on Florence, but Texas was looking at a disturbance all weekend long, and that brought up to 9 to 12 inches of rainfall in some areas. Also, it could go toward Louisiana, at least the remnants of that. Out in the Atlantic, Joyce is making a comeback. It was downgraded to just a tropical low, and now it's back to tropical depression status, and there's the path. Very unusual season so far with these paths and intensities. That's going to stay out there in the Atlantic, it looks like, as we're not going to see much of Joyce. I think it will fade away in the open waters of the Atlantic. That dry air I mentioned slipping in right there. You can see it right over Florida, and a lot of dry air to the east of us. That's going to vanish, I think, and we'll start to see a little bit more moisture come back into the picture. Temperatures right now pretty warm in South County, a little bit cooler into North Sarasota and Manatee County. Florence finally heading out into the Atlantic now. For boaters, winds will be out of the east, turning to the northwest at 5 to 10. Light chop out there for boaters. Not much going on as far as the seas go. And fall comes in on Saturday just before 10 o'clock in the evening. We'll have a slight chance for a shower on Wednesday. Much better getting back to that afternoon and evening thunderstorm pattern. Even though we're in fall, we're still going to see those summer afternoon storms right through next week. Back to you.
All right, Bob, thank you. Victims say a Sarasota contractor has disappeared with tens of thousands of their dollars. Tonight, numerous people coming forward with very similar stories.
Yeah, many of these customers hired trademark pavers for their pools or driveways, put down a deposit, and then never heard from the company again. ABC7's Taylor Torregano is digging deeper to expose the alleged fraud. She joins us in the studio tonight to show us what she's found. Taylor?
Jacqueline Scott, today I started with local law enforcement. The Sarasota Police Department, Sarasota County Sheriff's Office, and Manatee County Sheriff's Office all have open investigations on trademark pavers.
I'm very upset. I don't think I'll ever get over this. It's horrible.
Linda Pearson says she saw this ad for trademark pavers in a local magazine and had no way of knowing that her call to that number would cost $7,800.
They were sweet as pie, very nice, very cordial. I had no idea this was going to happen.
She signed a contract with Trademark Pavers to pave her pool and driveway. Pearson says the owner, Arthur Borchert, even came to her house twice to take measurements.
We were just at the point of setting up a date for him to begin, and it just never happened. I called there, the telephone was disconnected, and there was nobody at the business.
She last spoke to Borchert in July and hasn't heard from him since.
I looked onto his site and saw all these complaints of people giving him various amounts of money, and it's just been a horror ever since.
That's how Linda found another victim, Jim Nickel, who signed his own contract with Trademark Pavers in January. In this case, he paid them $6,000 in full to repave his pool, and they actually did complete the job in April.
In July, like this is like months later, I get a letter from Tremron, which supplied the pavers, that they hadn't been paid, and they're putting a lien on my house, and I'm subject to foreclosure on the house.
Trademark Pavers allegedly never paid for the materials they used on Nichols' pool, so the supplier went after Nichols' property. He called Trademark for an explanation. They told Nichols it was all a misunderstanding.
They even said that they had sent a release form to the paver maker, and that was a lie. So they were just stringing me along for a couple weeks until they declared bankruptcy.
Or tried to declare bankruptcy. The Manatee County Sheriff's Office says, according to its records, they're still in the process of filing.
I don't have anything to do with Trademark Pavers. I'm simply the landlord of the property.
That's what Michael Waters said to the several customers who started calling him in early August with complaints that they paid for work that was never done.
Because we were getting phone calls, I came over to talk to them.
Waters says on August 24th, he came to his property to ask Arthur, the owner of Trademark Pavers, what was up. Staff told him everything was fine.
And they said yes, everything was fine. The only reason the customers were calling is because there were delays due to weather.
Waters says he believed them and left it at that.
And a week later, they walked out the door, said their lawyer told them to vacate the premises and file bankruptcy. And since then, we've had nothing but the police showing up, angry customers, creditors, all wanting to know where they are and how they're going to get their money.
Now, nearly 3 weeks later, still cleaning the 22 tons of material Arthur left behind with no answers.
Now today I went to the owners of Trademark Pavers' home off of University Parkway. They didn't answer the door nor any of the 3 telephone numbers we found listed for Arthur or his wife Cynthia online. All of them, plus the business line, were disconnected. I even reached out on social media, also no response. Local law enforcement says this is an open investigation, so of course we will keep you updated with any new developments. Scott?
Thank you, Taylor. If you ever wondered about the massive construction project happening off of I-75 in Ellington, well, you're not the only one who's curious. Crews are building a huge industrial park at the northwest quadrant of US 301 and I-75. The site of the future Florida International Trade Port is on 132 acres of land and is expected to be 2 million square feet once complete. 2 buildings are under construction right now, and Benderson Development plans to build 3 others in the near future.
It's going to generate a lot of business, a lot of traffic, a lot of just new energy to the area.
Benderson Development tells us that site will be more like a business park than an industrial park once it is complete.
Well, when we come back, some lucky ducks in Bradenton.